Hello, my name is Bob Willis and welcome to Defect of the Month. Every month we look at one particular type of process defect and provide illustrations and comments and hopefully solutions, or point you in the direction of a path to hopefully overcome this particular issue if you see it in manufacture or some of your colleagues do. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video and ding the bell if you like to hear and see more of our defects of the month. This month I'd like to talk about incomplete solder paste reflow. Now we all know hopefully what solder paste is. It's a mixture of solder alloy, flux, solvent, a vehicle to make the material printable for long periods of time. Solder paste is being used in millions of kilos worldwide pretty much every day. But non-reflow solder paste can be simple, that we haven't got the temperature right. So if you've got a solder alloy, you have to get to 20 to 40 degrees C over the reflow temperature to allow the product you're soldering to get up to the reflow temperature, so that's not holding the solder paste reflow back, but making sure that the solder paste is at reflow temperature for a period of time to make sure you're getting good wetting, fluxing, activation of the materials, and of course minimizing any voids that might be present on area array packages. So there's certain things we do. So we profile a product to make sure that those joints in those particular areas are at reflow temperature for the period of time necessary, and we can then judge the quality of the solder joints. So that's the fundamental thing. So if it doesn't get up to reflow temperature, or only just gets up to reflow temperature and it's not there for long enough, then we're not going to have proper reflow. And you'll be able to see this on joints. Sometimes you'll see particles of the solder sitting on the surface, not completely reflowed. You might see what I call warts and spots on solder joints, particularly BGA, where the solder paste hasn't coalesced to the joint. But more fundamental, if you see a board where the solder paste has not reflowed, it may not just be temperature related. There are two things that can also occur. First of all, let's talk about the temperature related issue. If you reflow a product and you have too long a period of time at the preheat stage or the temperature just below reflow prior to going into reflow, you can actually exhaust the fluxing medium which is in the solder paste, and consequently all the solder paste particles will not coalesce, they will not join together to create that homogeneous joint. So that's one thing, and it's quite obvious, and I just show you a few examples of those here. The other example is where we've got temperature and some other variable, and one of the variables I see, not often but I do see, is where solder paste is put onto a printed circuit board, and that printed circuit board has actually been through a wipe off, a wash off, a cleaning operation to remove paste that wasn't satisfactory in terms of print quality or volume. Now, whenever you clean a printed circuit board off, particularly if you use a solvent cleaner, you've got to make sure that that solvent has evaporated from the surface. Some solder masks, particularly if the board is cleaned for a slightly longer period of time rather than just a wipe off, then it can absorb that solvent. So then what happens, you print the board, you place the components, you put it through reflow, and that evaporation of the solvent from the surface of the board deactivates or affects the successful reflow of the solder paste. And you might see this on specific areas of the board. It may be all over the board if you fully clean the board, as opposed to just cleaning a particular section. So there's a number of things that can cause it. Most commonly it's just the temperature is wrong, but just think about that cleaning operation and that impact on the flux material. If you're doing pin in paste intrusive reflow, sometimes you can get perfect joints and they look good, but right on the tips of the pins you can see some solder paste hasn't reflowed, and you're thinking, well, that's kind of strange. Well, again, it's that situation where the solder paste is sitting on the end of the pin as it goes through reflow, so it's going to see the elevated temperature for a longer period of time than the bulk of the solder in the hole. So in that situation, the preheat and the temperature just below reflow temperature is it having an impact on the flux's ability to allow the paste on the tip to reflow. So again, just think it through logically why it might have occurred, and hopefully you can solve your process problems. My name's Bob Willis, Defect of the Month, every month, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe to the channel and you can see many more defects over coming months. Thank you very much.